My friend's life often feels like a race where everyone seems faster, smarter, and more capable than us. We look around and start doubting ourselves. Confidence begins to shrink, and our focus scatters like dry leaves in the wind. But let me remind you, greatness is not about being the best in the world. It is about being the best version of yourself. A seed never looks at the trees around it and says, "Oh, they are taller. I cannot grow." It simply focuses on its own growth. Slowly, with time, it becomes a strong tree itself. The same applies to you. Confidence and focus are not built overnight. They are cultivated by consistent actions, right mindset, and a heart full of courage. Self-confidence is not arrogance. It is faith in your abilities. Focus is not obsession. It is clarity of direction. When these two come together, even ordinary people do extraordinary things. Remember, you do not need to compare your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20. You only need to water your own seed. Believe in your uniqueness. There is no one else like you on this planet, and that itself is your strength. The moment you realize this, a new energy flows within you. Most of the time, our confidence gets crushed not because we lack abilities, because we start comparing our journey with others. We forget that our value does not come from being like anyone else. It comes from being authentically ourselves. Imagine if every flower tried to look like a rose. Wouldn't the garden lose its beauty? The sunflower is beautiful because it is a sunflower. The lotus is beautiful because it is a lotus. And the rose is beautiful because it remains a rose. In the same way, you bring a fragrance, a quality, a contribution that no one else can bring into this world. When we don't believe in our uniqueness, we start doubting even the smallest things we do. We think, what if I fail? What if people laugh? What if I am not good enough? But when you know that you are unique, you stop asking, am I enough? And start saying, I am different, and that is my gift. Think of the fingerprints we all have. Out of billions of people, no two are the same. If your creator went to such detail to design your fingerprints differently, do you think he forgot to give you a unique purpose? Of course not. You are meant to walk your own path. But believing in your uniqueness requires courage, because the world constantly tries to fit you into a box. From a young age, we are told, be like him, behave like her, achieve like them. And without realizing it, we start wearing masks. We try to impress, we try to copy, and in the process, we lose touch with our true self. Confidence doesn't come from becoming a copy of someone else. It comes from being comfortable in your own skin. People may or may not accept you, but when you accept yourself, you walk with a natural confidence that cannot be shaken. Think about the greatest inventors, artists, or leaders in history. They were not confident because they were like everyone else, and they were confident because they dared to be different. Edison was laughed at when he failed hundreds of times before inventing the bulb. People mocked him, but he believed in his uniqueness. If he had listened to their doubts, we might still be living in darkness. Similarly, great leaders and thinkers have all faced criticism, but their uniqueness became their power. Your uniqueness doesn't have to be about inventing something or leading a nation. It could be in the way you care for people, the way you solve problems, the way you bring laughter to others, or the way you work with integrity. Confidence is born when you embrace that role fully without apology. The biggest mistake we make is trying to erase our differences. Instead, we should polish them, refine them, and express them with pride. If you are an introvert, don't force yourself to act extroverted just to fit in. If you are artistic, don't hide your creativity because others are more technical. If you love simplicity, don't be ashamed because others chase luxury. Confidence grows when you stand tall in your uniqueness and live it unapologetically. So, the first step to building self-confidence and focus is not to become someone else, but to deeply believe in your own uniqueness. This belief becomes an inner strength, a quiet power, a steady flame that guides you no matter how stormy life gets. When you know you are unique, you no longer need to prove yourself to the world. You simply need to live your truth. Stop comparing your life with others. Focus on your progress, not their achievements. One of the biggest reasons people lose confidence and focus is because they are busy measuring themselves against others. When you look at someone else's success, you often forget that you are only seeing the highlights of their journey, not the struggles behind it. Social media has made this even worse. Everyone posts their best moments, beautiful vacations, successful projects, smiling faces. Yet very few share the sleepless nights, the failures, the doubts, and the tears behind those pictures. The danger is we compare our behind the scenes reality with someone else's highlight reel. Naturally, we feel we are not good enough, and slowly our self-confidence starts to fade. But if you really think about it, comparison is unfair to your own journey. Every person is running a race, but not on the same track. Imagine if a fish compared itself to a bird. The fish would feel worthless because it cannot fly. But does that mean the fish has no value? Absolutely not. It was born to swim, not to fly. Similarly, you may not have the same strengths, background, or opportunities as another person, but you have your own unique abilities waiting to be developed. When you compare, you are wasting precious energy that could be used in building your own skills and achieving your own goals. True confidence comes when you measure progress against yourself, not against others. Ask yourself, am I better today than I was yesterday? That is the only comparison worth making. Even if the improvement is small, it still matters. If you run a little faster, Think a little clearer or become a little kinder than you were yesterday. You are moving forward. Progress is not always loud and dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet and slow, but still powerful. A tree doesn't grow overnight, but each day it silently stretches its roots deeper and its branches higher. In the same way, when you focus on your personal growth, you may not see instant results, but over time, you will transform. Comparison not only steals confidence, but also distracts focus. When you keep looking at someone else's path, you lose sight of your own. And imagine a runner constantly turning his head to see where others are. He will eventually trip and fall. Life works in the same way. When your eyes are fixed on others, your steps lose direction. But when you fix your gaze on your own track, you run with strength and clarity. This doesn't mean you cannot be inspired by others. Inspiration is healthy, comparison is harmful. Inspiration says, if they can do it, maybe I can too. Comparison says, if they are ahead, I am behind. One uplifts, the other destroys. So instead of comparing, use others' achievements as proof that growth is possible, and then return to your own journey. You also have to remember that everyone's timeline is different. Some people achieve success early, others later. Some bloom in their 20s, others in their 40s or 60s. A bamboo tree takes years to grow underground before it finally shoots up into the sky, while grass grows almost instantly. But in the end, both serve their purpose. So do not rush your growth just because someone else's chapter looks more advanced. Trust your timing. The greatest gift you can give yourself is patience with your own journey. When you stop comparing and start focusing on your progress, begin to see your worth clearly. Confidence then grows naturally, not from being better than others, but from knowing you are moving forward at your own pace. And when focus is no longer scattered by distractions of comparison, you channel all your energy into your own goals, making success inevitable. Learn to celebrate small victories, because small wins create big confidence. Many times, people lose faith in themselves because they are waiting for a huge breakthrough before they allow themselves to feel proud. They think confidence will come only after achieving something grand, like a promotion, a business success, or public recognition. But the truth is, confidence is not built in one big moment. It is built brick by brick through small accomplishments that slowly remind you of your own strength. If you ignore these small wins, you miss the foundation of lasting confidence. Think of a child learning to walk. The first step is shaky, the balance isn't perfect, and the child may even fall. But what happens? The family claps, cheers, and celebrates that tiny step as if it is the greatest achievement in the world. Why? Because that one step is proof that more steps will follow. That celebration motivates the child to try again, to keep walking, and eventually to run. The same principle applies to your own journey. If you celebrate small victories, you encourage yourself to keep moving forward. If you ignore them, you feel as though nothing you do matters, and your confidence slowly disappears. Small wins are powerful because they shift your mindset from failure to progress. Let's say you want to get fit. Instead of waiting until you lose 20 pounds to feel proud, celebrate the fact that you showed up to the gym today. Celebrate drinking more water than yesterday. Celebrate choosing a healthy meal instead of junk food. These little victories may seem insignificant, but they stack up and build momentum. And momentum creates belief. Slowly, the voice inside you begins to say, "Wes, I can do this. Yes, I am capable." That voice is the foundation of self-confidence. Another reason to celebrate small wins is that they keep you focused. Big goals often feel overwhelming because they take time, effort, and consistency. When you only focus on the big picture, it's easy to lose motivation midway. But when you break the journey into smaller steps and acknowledge each success, the path feels lighter. It's like climbing a mountain. If you stare at the peak, you may feel discouraged and think, "It's too high, I'll never reach it." But if you celebrate every milestone, the first camp, the halfway point, the next turn, you stay motivated to keep going. Before you realize it, you've reached the summit. Celebrating small wins also trains your brain to look for progress instead of problems. Many of us are quick to criticize ourselves when we make mistakes, but slow to appreciate ourselves when we do something right. Over time, this imbalance damages confidence. But when you intentionally acknowledge little improvements, you rewire your mind to see growth instead of lack. It doesn't mean you become arrogant. It simply means you are fair to yourself. Just as you would encourage a friend with kind words, you learn to encourage yourself. There's also a deeper lesson here. Joy is not found only in the destination, but also in the journey. If you wait to celebrate only at the finish line, you might miss the beauty of the path. But when you allow yourself to smile at every step forward, life becomes more fulfilling. Each day feels purposeful because you recognize progress happening in real time. So, confidence does not come from waiting for one massive victory. It comes from recognizing and celebrating the many small victories along the way. Each small win is a reminder that you are growing, that you are capable, and that you are moving closer to your dreams. And when you build the habit of honoring these small moments, your confidence becomes unshakable because it is constantly being renewed through daily progress. Surround yourself with positive people who lift you up, not those who drag you down. Human beings are deeply influenced by the environment they live in, and the people we spend time with shape our mindset more than we often realize. Just like a plant needs sunlight, water, and fertile soil to grow, We need an environment filled with encouragement, positivity, and belief in order to thrive. If a plant is placed in darkness, it will wither no matter how strong its seed was. In the same way, if we keep surrounding ourselves with negative, discouraging voices, our confidence begins to wither. Think about it. When you spend time with people who constantly criticize, gossip, complain, or mock others, what happens to your energy? Slowly, their words and attitudes begin to settle in your mind. You may not notice it at first, but after a while you start doubting yourself, questioning your abilities, and feeling drained. Negativity spreads like smoke. It fills the room quietly, and before you know it, you are breathing it in. On the other hand, when you spend time with people who encourage you, challenge you positively, and remind you of your strengths, you feel energized and inspired. Their positivity doesn't just stay with them, it transfers to you, giving you the courage to believe in yourself and stay focused on your goals. Confidence is fragile when it is only built on your own thoughts. But when it is supported by people who see your potential, even when you cannot, it becomes stronger. Many times in life, you may face setbacks that shake your self-belief. In such moments, the right company becomes a mirror, reflecting your strengths back to you. They remind you of your worth, of how far you have come, and of the abilities you carry. These reminders are not luxuries. They are necessities for growth. We must also understand that the people around us influence not only our confidence, but also our focus. If you spend time with people who are aimless, easily distracted, or careless about their goals, you will notice yourself drifting in the same direction. But if you surround yourself with those who are disciplined, committed, and passionate about growth, you naturally absorb their energy. Focus sharpens when you are around focused people, just as laziness spreads when you are around lazy people. Sometimes surrounding yourself with positive people also means having the courage to walk away from those who drain you. This is not about judging others, but about protecting your own energy. If someone constantly puts you down, mocks your dreams, or brings unnecessary drama into your life, you must ask yourself if keeping them close is worth the cost, worth to your confidence and focus. Walking away does not mean you hate them. It means you respect yourself enough to choose growth over negativity. But positivity is not only about others, it is also about the kind of relationships you build. If you want to be surrounded by encouraging people, you must also become one. Be the person who lifts others, who celebrates their small victories, who speaks with kindness. When you create an atmosphere of positivity around you, it naturally attracts the same energy back. Confidence grows best in communities where people support and uplift one another. Think of your environment as a garden. If you plant flowers among weeds, the weeds will eventually choke them. But if you plant flowers among other flowers, they all bloom together, creating beauty and fragrance. Similarly, when you place yourself among people who shine with positivity, your own light becomes brighter. At the end of the day, your circle is either your anchor or your wings. Choose those who help you rise, who remind you of your potential, and who keep you focused on what truly matters. Because when you are surrounded by the right people, self-confidence becomes natural and focus becomes effortless. Practice gratitude daily as it shifts your mind from what you lack to what you already have. One of the greatest reasons people struggle with confidence and focus is because their attention is always on what is missing. They compare their lives with others, notice the opportunities they don't have, the money they haven't earned, or the recognition they haven't received. The result, a constant feeling of inadequacy. Gratitude, however, turns the spotlight toward what is already present and valuable in life. It reminds you that you are already equipped with blessings, strengths, and resources that can help you move forward. When you start seeing abundance instead of scarcity, your confidence rises naturally. Think of gratitude as a lens. When you wear it, your perspective changes. For example, a student who complains, "I'm not as intelligent as others," can instead remind themselves, "I have the opportunity to study, to learn, and to grow." A worker who complains, "My job is stressful," can also remind themselves, "I have a job that provides for me and my family." This simple shift doesn't mean ignoring challenges, but it means refusing to let them overshadow the good that already exists. And once your mind focuses on the good, your confidence gets fueled by appreciation rather than drained by dissatisfaction. Gratitude also sharpens focus. When you are always chasing what you don't have, your mind becomes scattered, restless, and unsatisfied. But when you acknowledge and value what is already in your hands, you gain clarity. You no longer waste time comparing, envying, or doubting yourself. Instead, you channel your focus toward making the best use of your current blessings. For instance, if you are grateful for your talent, you practice and polish it. If you are grateful for your health, you take care of it. If you are grateful for supportive relationships, you nurture them. Gratitude turns your attention from what is missing to what can I do with what I already have. And that clarity enhances focus. And gratitude also has a powerful impact on emotions. It is difficult to be grateful and insecure at the same time. The more you practice gratitude, the more you replace feelings of insufficiency with feelings of contentment. Confidence grows when you stop criticizing yourself for not being enough and start appreciating yourself for what you already are. Every time you acknowledge a personal strength, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. That reinforcement is the quiet foundation of self-confidence. it is important to remember that gratitude is not just a thought, it is a practice. It requires consistency. Just like you train your body in the gym, you train your mind with gratitude. One effective way is to write down 3 things you are grateful for each morning or night. At first, it may feel repetitive, like writing family, health, food. But as you continue, your mind digs deeper. You begin to notice the small things, the smile of a loved one, the strength to get through a tough day, the opportunity to learn something new. These realizations create a stronger connection with life itself, reminding you that you already have enough to keep moving forward with confidence. Another practice is to express gratitude to others. Thanking people for their kindness, their efforts, or their presence strengthens relationships and spreads positivity. When you make others feel valued, they naturally encourage and uplift you in return. This cycle of appreciation builds a supportive environment where confidence and focus thrive. Ultimately, gratitude is not about denying ambition or refusing to improve. It is about building a foundation of joy and appreciation from which you can grow further. When you practice gratitude, you begin to realize that your life is not defined by what you lack, but by what you do with what you have. That realization alone fills you with the confidence to move forward and the focus to stay on your path. Set clear goals, because when your direction is clear, your focus naturally sharpens. One of the biggest reasons people lose confidence and wander aimlessly is because they do not know exactly what they are working toward. It is like getting into a car without knowing the destination. You may keep driving, but after a while, frustration sets in because you don't know where you are headed. Goals give direction. They provide a map for your energy, your efforts, and your decisions. Without them, you may be busy but not necessarily productive. With them, you not only move forward, but also feel more confident with each step because you know your path has purpose. When you set a clear goal, your mind begins to align itself automatically. Suddenly, distractions do not have the same power. Imagine a student preparing for an important exam. If the goal is vague, I want to do well, the preparation is often half-hearted. But if the goal is precise, I want to score 85% in mathematics within 3 months, the focus sharpens. The student now knows how many hours to study, which topics to prioritize, and how to measure progress. The clarity of the goal narrows the wandering and directs it like a laser beam. That is the power of clarity. Confidence also grows when you have clear goals because you can measure progress. Without goals, even when you achieve something, you don't know if you are moving forward or just moving in circles. With goals, every small achievement reminds you that you are getting closer to your destination. This sense of progress builds self-belief. For example, if your goal is to run a marathon And every kilometer you complete in training strengthens your confidence that you will finish the race. Without that goal, running the same distance would feel meaningless and fail to boost your self-belief. Another benefit of having clear goals is that they give you the courage to say no to unnecessary distractions. When you are unsure about your direction, everything looks tempting. You try a little of this, a little of that, and end up scattering your energy. But when you know exactly what you want, you can reject what doesn't serve your purpose. For instance, if your goal is to save money for a business, you can confidently say no to impulsive spending. If your goal is to build better health, you can resist unhealthy choices more easily. Clarity reduces confusion, and less confusion means more confidence and focus. But goal setting is not just about writing down lofty dreams. Goals must be realistic, specific, and meaningful to you. It is not enough to say, I want to be successful. Go. Success means different things to different people. For one, it might mean financial freedom. For another, it might mean peace of mind. For yet another, it might mean building strong relationships. When you define success for yourself clearly, you know exactly where to direct your energy. And when the goal is personally meaningful, you stay motivated even during setbacks. There is also power in breaking big goals into smaller steps. A huge mountain may feel impossible to climb, but when you divide it into stages, each step feels achievable. These small steps give you continuous focus and constant doses of confidence as you accomplish them one by one. Clarity doesn't just mean knowing the final destination. It means knowing the next step you need to take today. At its core, clear goal setting transforms chaos into order. It replaces doubt with direction, confusion with clarity, and fear with focus. Once you know where you are going, every action you take has meaning, and when your life has meaning, your confidence strengthens naturally and your focus becomes unshakable. Break your goals into small steps and focus on completing one step at a time. Many people lose confidence not because they lack ability, but because their goals look so overwhelming that they don't know where to begin. They see the mountain in front of them and feel paralyzed, thinking, I could never climb this. But if you break the climb into small stages, suddenly the impossible becomes manageable. Confidence is not built by reaching the top in one leap. It is built by taking consistent, steady steps toward the top. Imagine you are building a house. If you keep staring at the empty land and the vision of the final building, you will feel anxious. But when you focus on laying the first brick properly, then the next, and then the next, over time the house comes together. Similarly, in life, big achievements are nothing more than a series of small victories stacked together. If you try to do it all at once, you will burn out and lose focus. But if you divide the journey into smaller, achievable steps, Every step gives you energy to move forward. Confidence grows when you complete a step and see visible progress. For example, suppose your goal is to write a book. If you only think about 300 pages, it feels intimidating. But if you focus on writing 2 pages daily, you start to build momentum. Every completed page is proof that you are capable, and that proof fuels your confidence. The same principle applies to fitness, business, studies, or any other area of life. A small step finished is more valuable than a big dream left untouched. Focusing on small steps also keeps you present. One of the reasons people lose focus because they keep thinking too far ahead about failures that haven't happened or challenges that are yet to come. This mental overload creates anxiety, but when you train yourself to focus only on the step in front of you, you remain calm and clear. Runners don't win marathons by constantly thinking of the finish line. They win by focusing on the next few meters, then the next, until eventually they cross the line. By mastering small steps, you master the journey itself. Breaking goals into steps also helps you handle setbacks more effectively. If your entire focus is only on the big picture, one failure feels like the end. But if you are working step by step, a setback in one area doesn't destroy your confidence. It just delays the journey a little. You can always adjust, improve, and move forward. This approach builds resilience because you no longer see obstacles as walls, but as bumps on the road that can be crossed with patience. There is also joy in small steps. Too often, people postpone happiness until the destination is reached. But by celebrating the completion of each step, you learn to enjoy the process as much as the outcome. This creates a cycle. Small steps bring small victories bring confidence, and confidence fuels focus to keep moving toward the larger goal. The truth is, the journey of transformation is never a giant leap. It is always a series of small, consistent steps. When you break your goals down and focus on each step, the mountain becomes climbable, the dream becomes achievable, and your confidence becomes unshakable. Instead of being overwhelmed by the size of the destination, you find strength in the power of daily progress. Learn from failures instead of fearing them. Every setback is a stepping stone. One of the greatest to confidence is the belief that failure is the end of the road. People see mistakes as proof that they are not good enough, and as a result, they stop trying. But failure is not a signal to quit. It is feedback, a lesson, a necessary part of growth. If you avoid failure at all costs, you also avoid success because the two are inseparable. No one ever reached mastery without stumbling along the way. A confidence does not come from never falling. It comes from rising again after every fall. Think about a child learning how to ride a bicycle. In the beginning, there are wobbles, falls, and scraped knees. But each fall teaches balance. Each mistake reveals what not to do. Eventually, The child rides with ease, not because they avoided failure, but because they went through it and learned from it. If fear of falling had stopped them, they would never have discovered the joy of riding freely. In the same way, in life, failures are not evidence of weakness. They are training grounds for strength. Failures also sharpen focus. When you fail, life gives you clues about what went wrong. If you pay attention, those clues help you redirect your efforts more wisely. For instance, an entrepreneur who launches a product that doesn't sell learns valuable lessons about market demand, timing, or communication. If they use that feedback, the next attempt is stronger. But if they fear failure so much that they never try again, their focus is wasted on regret instead of growth. Every failure carries within it a seed of improvement, but only if you are willing to look for it. Confidence grows deeper when you accept failure as part of the process. Many people believe that successful individuals are those who never fail. In reality, they are the ones who fail more than most but refuse to be defined by it. Thomas Edison famously said, "I did not fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." This perspective is powerful because it transforms failure from a dead end into a stepping stone. Each setback then becomes a part of your success story rather than a stain on it. Failure also teaches humility and resilience. When everything goes smoothly, it is easy to feel overconfident or careless. But when you stumble, you are reminded of the need to learn, adapt, and grow. This humility keeps you grounded and open to new strategies. At the same time, each recovery from failure builds resilience. You begin to trust yourself, not because you succeed every time, but because you know you can survive challenges and keep going. That trust is the foundation of lasting confidence. Another way to embrace failure is to change how you measure success. Instead of asking, "Did I win or lose?" ask, "What did I learn?" With this mindset, even when results are not as expected, the experience is never wasted. This perspective keeps your focus on growth rather than perfection, which reduces fear and increases persistence. It is also important to remember that failure is temporary. What feels like the end today may, in hindsight, turn out to be the best turning point of your life. Many people look back at failures and realize those moments redirected them towards something far greater. So rather than seeing failure as an enemy, treat it as a teacher. Welcome its lessons, extract its wisdom, and move forward stronger. When you stop fearing failure and start learning from it, you free yourself from hesitation. Confidence becomes unshakable because you no longer tie your worth to outcomes. Focus becomes sharper because you direct your energy toward learning and improving instead of worrying about mistakes. And over time, every failure you face becomes another stone paving the path to your success.